Have you ever taken time off, a week away, a holiday, maybe even sat on a beach, felt great for that moment, only to come back to work and feel burnt out again by Monday lunchtime? We're constantly told that burnout is solved by working less, setting boundaries, or taking better vacations. But for most service business founders, that advice is not just wrong, it's actually dangerous. Because if your business depends on you to function, time off isn't going to fix burnout. If anything, it's just going to remind you why you can't step away. Burnout doesn't come from doing too much. It comes from being needed too much. And once you understand that, that's when everything changes. Most founders believe that burnout happens later, when the business is big and complex and out of control. But that assumption's wrong, because burnout doesn't come from Scout, it comes from dependence. And I know this because I burnt out early in my business career. And it wasn't after years of growth, but when my first company relied on me for everything. Every decision, every client issue, and every delivery problem. There was just no structure and nothing but pressure. But years later, I scaled that same business to 28 staff, multi-7-figure revenues, and I eventually exited that company for over $6 million whilst living overseas and working remotely with my family in Bali in Indonesia. And the difference wasn't motivation, and it wasn't discipline, and it definitely wasn't a hustle. It was design. I stopped building a business that needed me and started to build one that could function without me. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 4 real causes of founder burnout and how to remove them by shifting from operator to architect. Firstly, burnout isn't random, it's predictable, and it's your business sending you a structural warning sign. When founders take time off, it doesn't bring relief. If anything, it brings an extra layer of anxiety because you know what's waiting for you when you return. Unanswered questions, stalled decisions, and the business that hasn't moved forward without you. You don't come back rested, you come back to decision debt. Hundreds of decisions stacked up, all due immediately, all landing back on you. You can't rest your way out of a structural problem. You have to build your way out of it. Here are the 4 key causes of founder burnout. Cause 1, unending responsibility. Founder burnout isn't caused by workload, it's caused by always on responsibility. So that means when every decision runs through you, your nervous system never switches off. Growth doesn't create freedom, it just increases the pressure. And you don't become a leader, what you become is the bottleneck. Cause 2, growth without infrastructure. Now, more revenue doesn't fix broken systems. What it does is magnifies them. More clients, more expectations, more delivery, but you have the same bottlenecks. If growth is making your life harder instead of easier, that isn't success, that's a design failure. Cause 3 is control disguised as safety. Now, founders call it quality control, but most of the time, that's actually fear, hovering, micromanaging, approving everything. You stay involved because you don't trust the system, and the system never matures because you're always involved. True leadership isn't about trying to hold everything together. It's about building something that stands without you. And cause 4, which is the root problem of it all, founder dependency. This is actually the source of everything else. If your business can't make decisions, if you can't deliver results or grow without you, then you are the system. And people don't scale. A business that requires your emotional capacity to function will always burn you out. Burnout isn't a possibility in a founder-dependent business. It's inevitable. And so you don't escape burnout by resting more. You escape burnout by removing the dependency. If the business is a machine and you're the cog inside of it, when you stop turning, then that machine is going to seize up. So to build freedom, you're going to have to learn to shift from the operator to the architect. So shift 1 is from fixing problems, moving over to designing problems. So every time you solve a problem yourself, what you're actually doing is preventing a system from being built. Your job isn't to fix issues. Your job is to design a business where those issues never reach you in the first place. And so the second shift that you need to make is to move from helpers over towards ownership. Because most founders think they have a delegation problem, when actually what they have is an ownership vacuum. Because helpers Yeah, they help complete tasks, but owners are the ones that absorb responsibility. And if somebody finishes the work but still needs you to think, decide, approve, or worry, then that pressure never truly left your body. That's why you hear so many founders complaining that they have a team, but they still feel exhausted because the work moved, but the accountability didn't. Ownership means that the role holds the thinking, the role holds the outcome, and the role carries the consequences. And when ownership lives in the role instead of the founder, then those decisions stop bouncing upwards and your nervous system can finally get to stand out. And the third and final shift that you have to make is to move from execution to structure. Now, this is probably the hardest shift because it feels like an identity loss, since execution is visible, praised, and feels like progress, while structure is quiet, it's invisible when it works, and it's only noticed when it's missing. But at a certain point, execution stops compounding and more effort creates fragility instead of leverage. Your value should no longer be in what you personally produce, and instead should be in what you make possible for the business. That means your primary product becomes clarity, decision pathways, and accountability structures. You no longer pay for output. What you're paid for is designing a company that doesn't collapse under growth. And that's how businesses scale without breaking the founder that actually built it. And look, I get it. This all sounds great in theory, but how do you know if you're actually beginning to make those shifts? So this is where you then apply what I refer to as the stress test. Okay, this is going to tell you whether the shifts are actually happening. So what you need to do is create a short period of distance. So that means going away for 2 weeks, away from the business, no WhatsApps, no emails, and you're not there to relax. You're there to observe the system without you having to pop it up. So you're going to be treating it as a stress test rather than a sabbatical. So when you step away, you need to pay attention to what starts to strain, where the decisions stall, and where things quietly start to fall apart. And more importantly, they're usually the clearest signal for what you need to focus on over the next 90 days in order to begin eradicate burnout and founder dependency from your business. So guys, if this video hit close to home, it's not because you're failing, but it's because your business was never designed to work without you. And look, don't worry, that's fixable. If you want to help identify exactly where dependency still lives inside of your business and how to remove it properly, I've included a link to a free founder dependency audit below in the description. And don't worry, it's not a pitch. What it is a design review to show you where founder dependency still lives inside of your business. And guys, make sure you check out the next video on the accountability ladder to learn how to build a team that thinks and acts like owners. I'll see you soon.